Hello again everyone, welcome to the Vorhagen Gradient. Today I am going to review Detroit Simulator 2014, aka This War of Mine. Let me start out by saying that this game is grim. God, is it dark. Trust me, you play this for a few hours and you'll be longing for the upbeat joy of The Walking Dead. There's good reason for the tone of the game though. The subject matter isn't really something that should be taken lightly. This War of Mine is a war game presented through the eyes of civilians trying to survive a conflict. And I must say that it has been done brilliantly. The only objective is to survive until the end of the war by any means necessary. This leaves some very difficult decision making up to you. We'll get to that later though. Right now let's talk about how the game works. Basically, it is split up into two phases, the day and the night. During the day, you look after your survivors' needs as well as craft various household items that make day-to-day life easier, like beds, a stove, rainwater collector, etc. You can also build a moonshine still for fun and profit. Seriously, you can do some heavy bartering with a few bottles of moonshine and some cigarettes. This is war, son. Your survivors can also drink the moonshine, but that's kind of silly. Not only do you lose a valuable trade good in the process, but if a group member is drunk, he or she cannot do any work during the day, and they are equally useless at night. Speaking of night, when it comes, you have to plan who will sleep, who will stand guard, and who will go out scavenging. This is where the real danger comes into play. Locations range from completely safe to extremely dangerous. Death in this game is permanent and has a profound effect on the group. The death of one of their own will send them into a depression that can easily lead to suicide. Like I said, the game is grim. This is also where some of those difficult decisions come into play. Once you've looted the safe and uninhabited areas, and you find yourself still in need of supplies, which you will, you have to decide if you're going to risk death in a hostile location or risk the emotional turmoil that comes with robbing the innocent. I was in a situation where I needed meds and an elderly couple had a nice supply tucked away, so I decided I was going to go all Bilbo Baggins and try a bit of burglary. I screwed it up, of course. Their son came at me with a knife and I was forced to kill him with a shovel in front of his parents. I went ahead and took what I needed from their place, but when I got back to my home, everyone was upset about what had happened. The guy who had done the deed was in a broken state and refused to do anything but sit on the floor and cry. The following night, a member of the group got so upset that he left with a pretty decent amount of our food. After that, a less skilled scavenger was killed on a supply run. 2 nights after that, my surviving member hung himself. All because a robbery turned into a murder. Also, upon a return trip to that family's home, I found them both dead. I had taken their food, and they had starved. Yay me. Anyway, I've barely scratched the surface of what this game entails. I'd hate to spoil anything. I will say that this War of Mine is definitely worth your money, and is one of my favorite games I've played in the past several months. Do yourself a favor, get on Steam right now and buy it. You won't regret it, though your peace of mind might. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Later. Day 1. Bruno, Pavle, and I escaped the worst of the battle and found this place. It will be a good place for us to hide until this foolishness is over. The cruelty and bloodlust of mankind boggles the mind and crushes the soul. I vow that I will never sink to such depths of depravity. This war will not change me. Day 2. Beat some old prick to death with a crowbar as his wife looked on in terror. I then did the same to her. The warm spray of their blood on my face as they died gurgling in pools of their own excrement pleased me in ways I cannot describe. I hope this war never ends.